Come on, please. Yes! 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 Yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is episode 18 of the 9 Dar Podcast, your one-stop shop for talking tungsten. We're back. How are you, Josh?
Good. Pleasure to be here as always.
It was a big week in darts.
Sure
Quite
was.
a bit happened, and there's only 1 week of regular season, 2 weeks, counting finals night of the 2025 BetMGM Premier League darts. It's gone quickly, I felt. I said to this off air before we came into the studio even, that it seems to have rushed by much quicker. I think having Stephen Bunting there for me every week has helped that a little bit. Yeah, only a couple more nights left. One in Sheffield this Friday morning for us as we record, of course, in Australia. And the following Friday in morning, Thursday night in the O2 in London.
Yes, absolutely. It has actually gone quick. You're right. I was saying off air, it can be a slow process sometimes, but I think the Bunting effect has made it go a little bit faster, but it's been good. It's been good. We're going to see the table in a moment.
It's been a pretty good edition of the Premier League,
It
I
has.
reckon.
It has.
Obviously, not going to talk in the start about the selection and all that, but I think
Yes.
it's gone reasonably well. We've had more crazy moments.
Oh, yeah.
Goen Price got yet another set of, I think they're worth £30,000 darts.
Yep.
He's based on the 2-9 darts he's hit in a minute and a half. He's doing 40,000 an hour during this Premier League or something like that.
Not bad if you ask me.
That's £40,000, so that's 80,000 plus Australian dollars.
Yep.
He has hit 2 9-darters in this year's Premier League, including one against Stephen Bunting in a 6-4 loss because
There
he
it
lost
is.
the immediate leg. There it is. The great thing when Gezzy's on a 9-darter is he has that, if he's got hits 2 180s, he's got that unique way with going treble 19 first start. And once he hits the 57, you don't feel like he's going to miss.
No, that's so true.
Because he's got the awkward one out of the way.
Exactly. You usually see players go
60,
treble
57,
20,
24.
Yeah, you usually see that route. But for him, it's more common than not you'll see him go the 57 route first.
Yeah.
And look at that double 12 pinned beautifully in the middle there. So that's
Yeah,
what we like
you
to
just
see.
feel like it's just gonna go once that 7th dart is in. If he's gone back to back 180s and then's got the treble 19 out of the way,
And he loved it. And
He absolutely loved
A
it.
little
The
bit of
crowd
this from the crowd.
absolutely loved it. Stephen
course.
was very happy, but he got the win. So
Yes.
he was. So all in all, there's some positives there from this match. But you know what? I'm going to say something that's a fraction controversial. I
course.
reckon this Gezzy Price 9-darter wasn't even in the top 3 most interesting things that happened in the night, and we've almost forgotten about. There was a perfect leg. Usually we're leading this as the great thing. 9-dart podcast. We like to see 9-dart finishes, but I reckon there were a few more interesting stories than a 9-darter, which usually is first or second. I don't even think it's on the podium.
No, well, we're going to see now. This
We'll,
crazy
we'll,
moment.
we'll
was-
weigh them up and maybe we'll wait
We
until
will.
the end.
We will. There's so much going on, but the
The
boy,
full
oh
match
boy.
is on YouTube if you want to watch it. I'm just going to go anytime I'm not feeling 100%, I'm a bit under the weather, I might just go to this match. Luke played Luke Humphries, and I said whoever won the throw for the ball would win 6-5. The person who won the throw for the ball did indeed win the match,
There you go.
albeit 6-3. Humphries missed a
Close
dart at
enough.
tops for 4-all. Littler took out 57 and then held throw. So 6-3, it was much closer than it was. This was one of the
yeah.
all-time great Premier League matches. Luke Littler, I believe this is now his highest TV average, 115.96 or something. We'll call it 116. 110 average, I think it was for Humphries. But they were almost around 120.
Pretty much.
The fact that they were just doing it together. You had the 170 attempt from Humphries that he missed, and then Luke Littler took the 170 even though he had like 204 points left. From that point until sort of halfway through, it might have been the 9th. Like that series of about 4 or 5 minutes was the greatest passage of darts that we may have ever seen.
Exactly. Well, they're going to play together very soon in Frankfurt for Team England. Watch that space.
Oh,
Goodness
no.
me.
God
But
help you. You're
incredible.
not winning the World Cup. There's no way that England don't retain the World Cup this year with that ridiculous pairing. Who knows? The dynamics of pairs darts might be a bit different.
True.
They won't be playing one after the other. They've got to wait for the other team to throw. So maybe
Sure.
that speed will turn up. But it's going to be so bloody difficult
That's right.
with the two Lukes representing England.
What an
Goodness
incredible
gracious
game.
me.
Incredible.
I'm looking forward to the World Cup though at any rate.
Wayne Marle's commentary
Wayne
was
Marle-
just perfection. It's boring, man. It's boring.
Yeah,
What do you
Wayne
mean?
Marle makes any match more interesting, more exciting. I absolutely love whenever Wayne Marle's on commentary, and yeah, he made that match even more entertaining
Are
than the
you
darts
kidding
itself.
me?
Yeah, there was that passage. Humphries
Oh.
180, Littler 180, Humphries 180, Littler 144
144,
out,
yes.
Humphries 180 to start the next
Yep.
leg. Humphries has hit 9 consecutive treble 20s in there. And Littler's won a leg as well. There was 15 perfect darts in a row. It was just It was the middle of the treble.
It was.
There was what? So what was there in the match? Something like 14 180s.
Yep,
There was a 171 from Littler in the last leg as well, which is close enough. I think he also had a 174 at some point. It was just it was ridiculous.
I think in the 7th leg there was 8 or 10 180s in there. It was just ridiculous. Ultimately, it was ridiculous, and the commentary was amazing. The game was amazing, and that will be, I reckon, one of the all-time greatest.
Well, it might be
matches
the
you'll ever
greatest
see.
Premier League match ever.
That's what they've titled it, so it could be. I mean, if we keep doing this podcast 2-3 years in advance, we'll put this on as a darts
We might have
archive
this.
match.
We might bring this back
might
this time
bring it
next
back.
year when we go to Aberdeen, just to remind
could.
ourselves of what was.
Absolutely.
And by the way, this was only the best of 11 legs, so who knows if they, as we expect, meet in the final of the tournament itself at the O2 in a week and a bit over the best of 21 legs. Who knows? It could be just sensational stuff.
Unbelievable.
That was
what a night.
that was effectively the highlight of the night in terms of the matches itself. But the big winner of the night, more than anyone else, was
Yes.
undoubtedly Nathan Aspinall. Not just because he got a trophy and a £10,000 bonus, which is always nice, but the most important thing is he is now 4 points clear.
Yep.
On the table, which we might as well just go to straight to here.
Here we
So Luke Littler qualified, and that win also meant he's guaranteed top spot with 40 points.
Yep.
Humphries second, 31 points. Price third, 24 points. He is qualified. And Dobie, Cross, and Bunting won't make it. It's all between
Ruled out.
Aspinall and Van Gerwen.
Yes.
And Van Gerwen, who has not won a night all year, must win this coming night, defeat Aspinall in the quarterfinals, then win his semi-final and final. And otherwise, Nathan Aspinall will be there at the O2. And for someone who probably looked like the least in form of anyone of the Premier League 8, maybe Chris W, you could argue as well, to get close to even if he finished 5th, there would have been a good effort. He's someone, Aspinall, who's been right there on the Premier League cusp every single
on
time.
that cusp right
and
there.
it looks like, barring something ridiculous, he will go to the O2, which is quite remarkable.
Well, for MVG, it's now or never.
Yes, it
now
is.
Or never, isn't it? So
Minus 13 league difference.
yes.
Gee whiz.
Well, again, that night not being there, 6
Hasn't
taken off,
helped.
it might hurt him in the end.
Yeah, it
really
has.
might
If
hurt
he
him in the end.
played up, if he was able to show up and even won his match, he'd be on 22 points. Actually, if he won that, if he was there and won that match, he'd be on 22. As would Price. Actually, no, Price would be on 21 if he got knocked in the first round because he made the final. So he got 3 points there, and then Aspinall on 24. So that missing the night has changed the complexion. Obviously, he obviously wasn't feeling right enough to go.
No.
But the minus 6 leg difference, missing a night, maybe losing a bit of momentum, not having other guys pick up points. Because that Van Gogh and missing the night, as good as Price has been, he would still be potentially not. He wouldn't be locked in right now if it wasn't for
I wouldn't think so.
that night where he was due to play Michael Van Gerwen in Berlin and didn't. Michael Van Gerwen wasn't there. He got the walkover. He beat Chris Dobie in the semi-final, lost to Bunting in the final. But yes, so or looks almost certainly that it will be almost certainly. Is that the right way to say it? Almost certain that Nathan Aspinall will qualify for finals night. If he beats Michael Van Gerwen, that does it for us.
That's locked.
So I'm gonna foreshadow this already. I'm going to be doing a bit of wishful thinking in my predictions to try and just manifest a bit of chaos because it's the second game of the night as well. And
yes.
if that's the case, we're in a bit of trouble.
Absolutely.
If that game goes one way, for the rest of the night we'll just sit around going, oh, okay.
Exactly. Well, if MVG wins, he's got a chance, but ultimately he must win that first game and must win the night to give himself any
He's got to win
chance.
3 games, something he hasn't done all year. Right. Chris Dobie, now he lost in the final to Nathan, but he had a good night otherwise, including a victory over Luke Littler, who really in no way could have possibly sustained the level he produced in the quarterfinal. But 98 average. He's shown a lot of promising stuff. I feel like
he has.
Wayne Marlow said this about Stephen Bunting. You really could say it for Dobie as well. Considering they lost quite regularly in the first half of the season. They've shown quite a bit of resilience throughout this Premier League.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. He has shown resilience. That's a really good way to put it, actually. He's been up and down. He's found a little bit of form, then gone off, but a very good win for him. Even in the first game against Cross, 107 average, 6-2 in that one. Both great scoring across the board, but a really gritty win. Gritty win against someone who played a 115 average the game before in Littler.
Yep. I've only just noticed, looking at the table again here, it is still mathematically possible for Stephen Bunting to finish 6th.
Okay.
He's been 7th on the
happen.
first night and 8th for the rest of the Premier League. If he wins the night on 17 points, and presuming Dobie and Cross don't do enough, he could still finish 6th, which would be, I mean, what's the difference between 8th and 6th in terms of prize money? It's an additional £20,000. So there you go. Actually, no, sorry, £10,000. Sorry, that's 60,000 for last, not 50. I read that wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Plus an additional 10,000 for a bonus for winning the night. Anyway, so Chris Dobie, good. This one, right? Let's talk about Michael Van Gogh. He's got work to do. Like we said, he's got to win the night. That action is still a bit all over the place. That dart is still, it's pointing straight down when he's throwing instead of being level like it previously was. I might bring in my actual set of darts to sort of demonstrate this.
Live demonstration.
It's just been how Michael will be sitting there going, how have we got to that stage? In terms of when you look at the guys sort of around him, Price, Aspinall, the Aspinall in particular, he actually looked way better this week. Aspinall, I thought his throw was as fluid as I've ever seen him throw. But the thing with Michael is, like, you look in previous years where he hasn't been as good, or tournaments where he hasn't been in this sort of recent period where his form's been over the place, he's been able to be consistent enough over periods of time to get wins and go deep in tournament.
Get the job done. Yep.
But this time, when he's really needed, all you really need in this format is 1 or 2 big nights plus a bit of consistency to get through. So he's played 26 matches. He's only won 11. For what it's worth, Aspinall's played 27 and he's 14 and 13. So he's just above water there in terms of win-loss ratio. So he just hasn't been as consistent as some of the guys around him. It's 7 losses in the semi-final stage. That's 2 points. If he had picked up just a couple more even runner-up spots, he'd be within striking distance of Nathan there. 3 in particular would still make this a close shootout, though that would also mean taking points of other people, so it's not quite that simple of an equation. But he just hasn't been as consistent as he needs to be, or just had one big run to a final, one nightly win that would really tip the scales here.
Maybe this could be the night. This could be the night. In
Maybe
Sheffield,
this could be.
he's
He's still got
nightly win.
He's got one chance. He's just got one
Eminem,
shot.
one shot.
Yeah, exactly. He's got this one opportunity. He can still do it. He can still overcome. And if he makes the finals night, who knows? It's always
exactly
a bit of a lottery. But he's gonna need one solid night. And if he wins the night and makes the 4. This is the darts podcast. The footy podcast is coming later. If he can make the top 4 off the back of a nightly win, he'd have an increase in confidence.
Yes,
so that would help him.
He'd have an element of sort of momentum going to that night, because again, finals is often a new season. It's a new chance. It's a fresh opportunity. So if he can win this night and he can make it to the O2, then God knows what he can do there. Absolutely.
Yep. We move away. We've talked a bit about a flop. This one, I've seen no real coverage of this other than the Online Darts Live Lounge episodes. Well, they were 200 and something during the week. The crowd was fine during the actual match, all the matches itself. They had no problem there. It was really just after the match, and sort of, I think even after the Sky Sports had stopped broadcasting. They've broadcasted finish where there were some things thrown or just sort of some rowdy stuff. We've got a bit better at we haven't had another Glasgow, thank goodness,
no,
and I don't think we will again.
Or the whistling and all that crap.
The Scottish crowd. I don't know what it is about Scotland because they really deserve they don't have a big major event, and they probably deserve a couple more nights. They get good attendances, but it's always Scotland that is causing us issues more so. I mean, every country has its moments, but the Scottish one seems to be happening a bit more higher per capita, if you want to say that way. Now they've only got 2 events, so maybe that's a bit unfair.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one, though. But what I saw throughout the game was fine, as you said. Everyone was pretty well behaved, but afterwards just a bit odd, a bit awkward.
I think people might have been more. They might have been. They might have had a few, and they might have been a bit tired.
A few sherbets.
Probably. It might have just been a more tired thing, or maybe things hadn't gone the way they wanted. Yeah. So,
look, it happens. It happens. Hopefully, we don't see it come October. Hey, we have a beautiful night at John Cain. But yeah, just slightly disappointing. That's all.
Yeah, just a little bit disappointing. I only saw this today. Glenn Durrant was sitting down. There was a few great interviews at the moment on Online Dots. There was a big exhibition event. I'm not even sure where it was, but there were like tons of people there. I think Stephen might have been there. Michael was at one. Glenn Durrant was at one. Beau was at one, and we'll get to her in a moment.
We will.
The quote here is not that play now. Was talking about that MVG and that sort of loss of fear factor. We already discussed that. But the other part that was interesting was the one for a new ranking system. It's probably something that probably needs to be looked at. Because at the moment, as Glenn said, if you could win the World Championship, not win another leg for the next 2 years, go back into the World Championship and you'd be the world number 3. That's
Wow.
because of how much, if that £1 million would loom over your ranking. So that's your one, that's the one thing on the ranking. You're in the top 4. You're in the Premier League for those couple of years. Now that's that literal thing won't happen. The world champion will win legs, presuming they don't just put their feet up and refuse to enter any competitions. And go, I'm going to take the next 2 years off and come back to one number 3. I don't think you could even do that. I think the PDC would take your card away if you even take as much as 1 year or fully off. But it's probably something that needs to be looked at now. We talked about this when the ranking, when the new ranking money was announced, that it's probably still it's a fraction top heavy, isn't it, for the World Championship? Yes, it's the most important event, but I think that's something that needs to be looked at by some of the smartest people we have in darts, and there's a few different people which could potentially look at that.
We certainly agreed that there needs to be money sort of trickled down a little bit further, but again, it's a question of what would change in the ranking system to make it of benefit to other people. So my question to you is, have you got any ideas of what
could,
it's
without
still
looking
fresh
anything
mind.
in,
obviously,
there's a few things to look at. Basically, every other sport has a 1 year rolling system instead of 2, so something like that could be looked at. We had an old point system before that wasn't very good because Phil Taylor was the undoubted best player in the world, and he was rarely ranked number 1 before 2007. Because that system had too much emphasis on the Pro Tour then compared to the... so we basically had these problems before. A system with too much emphasis on the away from TV, and that was before 2007. And then post 2007, a system that's probably been too weighted towards TV, and it's just trying to find that right balance. So a 1 year system could be something like that. Sort of reintroducing that points, but being really careful about it and looking at what this means in the grand scheme of things. And sort of, I think whatever needs to be done, I think you should be able to use the system on the current era now and think, well, if we were using this system, because if we are going to change the system, it's going to have to come in from a point.
Yeah.
So there's going to have to be a moment where we switch from this is the old to this is the new. So there are other ways to do a ranking system which you can get the 1 through 1 to 8 now.
Sure.
So you'd have to look at that and go, oh, look, it is difficult, and perceptions and biases get in the way of these sort of things. Because in my system, Stephen Bunting is the number 1 all day, every day. But that we don't care about that. We're looking at performance on the Orkney and big time matches. So there needs to be something. I'm not 100% sure what I'm looking at. I think the 1 year could be that. That way, you're not just clinging on there at the back end of 24 months of not playing well, but you had a good 3 or 4 months at one point in time. It would refresh things a little bit. So I'm not 100% sure, but a 1 year rolling system could be the way, because it's basically literally how every other sport does it, pretty much.
Pretty much.
In terms of that, it's comparable to darts. That is.
I think it's a good way to go, but however it's done, needs to be a seamless transition. It can't be clunky. It can't be all over the shop. It just needs to be done well.
Yeah,
that's
it
pretty
does.
Much needs to be done, because there can be a lot of controversy around these ranking systems. We've seen a lot of different tours, but if it's done well, I think that'd be great. It needs to be done well.
There was Mitchell Laurie, is this week's future star, became the first Scottish player to win an advanced tour event. I know I was going to speak more about the JDC Power League, and I will in the next slide, but in the last event of the 4 on the weekend, the 14-year-old followed Nankervis, Bierhauser and Lewis Cook in winning events in Coventry. That's where it was held on a big weekend of 4 advanced tour events. In the final, he averaged a measly 104. Spare thought as well to that Mongolian who's been in there before, Kiriluku, who reached 3 finals on the weekend and finished runner-up in all 3. He had a 10 darter in the first leg of the weekend, was unable to, and made it, and he played Laurie, who averaged 104.44 in, I think it was event 16. Yes, event 16. With a 6-2 win to Victor Laurie, this week's Future Star. The Scottish player, I don't think we've had many Scottish players in the Future Star segment, mostly English. So, yeah, winning 6-2 there in the final over the Mongolian. Getting across Archie Self as well in the semi-final 5-1, which is an impressive one. So he won legs of 14, 12, 19, 14, 13, and 16.
Very respectable.
Racing into it, that was our 5-0 lead. With checkouts starting of 74 and 84. The Mongolian won 14 and 12, so he's down 5-0 rather. The Mongolian hits back with a 14 darter and a 12 darter.
If you don't mind.
If you don't mind. So this is a great match. But then Laurie got the job done, finishing on double 16. So Mitchell Laurie's this week's Future Star. And if we look at the Junior Power League table, so that was the round score in the Power League. Jack Curvis is leading the boys, and Rebecca Allen is leading the girls. Archie Self is second. Paige Pauling second. That more or less looks like what I'd expect there, at least at the top end. So that's where things stand on the JDC side of things. Time for the latest news now. We are on a little bit of time constraints because we started this a bit later, but we will keep going. PDC form got across the last 200 legs played. Luke Humphries is sitting there atop, and remarkably, Stephen Bunting is there number 4. Look, there's my man as well, Dirk van Dijvenbode, who I was expecting to have a good year, so he's looking good. We're at an interesting point now. Obviously, televised darts is just sort of the weekly stuff in the Premier League. There is Players' Championship and, of course, European Tour events, but we're mostly seeing the same guys at this point, so it's good to keep an eye on some other guys. Gary Anderson, Glenn Doran actually spoke about Gary Anderson in that interview about he's still a threat and could still be looming into a top 4 spot, that sort of thing. So it's not all just Premier League guys here. Jan van Veen and Ross Smith as well.
I was going to mention that. Absolutely. Yep. So my notable names are Rock, Anderson, Dirk, Van Veen, and it's basically all of the
non-Premier League
players. It's pretty much, but Josh Rock especially. Yeah, he's been in some great form. Average of 100 at the moment. That's
over his last 200 legs.
Last 200 legs. That's not bad, and pretty tidy on the doubles as well. 43%. Not bad if you ask me. Not bad, not bad.
The one big standout here for me is seeing Dirk van Dijvenbode in that 171 to 180 column, so 3 trebles, 103 over those last 200 legs.
Absolutely annihilates the treble 20, doesn't he?
Yes, and that checkout percentage of 41.47 isn't too bad, even though there's a few others going a bit better there. But Luke Humphries is the most in form over the last 200 legs he's played.
Makes sense.
101.05 average, 82 171s to 180s, 8 Tumblers checkouts, and doubling percentage of a very handy 43.66.
Rock's got 19. I didn't even notice that. Yeah. Wow, it's incredible.
Well, news that, to be honest, everyone really knew, to be honest. But Phil Taylor confirmed really this morning, as we record this, that he will not be competing in any more darts stuff, whether it be exhibitions, World Seniors. We know his PDC career ended on New Year's Day 2018 when he lost the World Final to Rob Cross. Perhaps the greatest sports person, the winningest sports person of all time. 16 world titles, 16 world match plays, 11 televised 9-dart finishes, which is a record that will probably be broken by Luke Littler at some point, but he's got it for now. Michael Van Gogh might even beat him. He's got 10, but he hasn't hit one in some time. He hasn't hit one on Sky in 12, 13 years. Changed the sport, really.
God, he did.
Was mentored by the late great Eric Bristow, who was the champion in the 80s.
Champion himself, yep.
Yes, and then really from 1990, when his first world time, when he just walked into Lakeside as the 32nd guy who qualified and won the whole tournament, till 2018, he was the dominant face, particularly in the PDC when the split happened. One of the most recognisable people in all of particularly English sport. It's all over. We won't see any more Phil Taylor throwing darts. I'm sure he'll still have opinions, and he'll still go to events and sign stuff, but it's the end. Any Luke Littler versus Phil Taylor matches will probably not happen, maybe. Who knows? We
got fooled. The Jenga contest.
The Jenga contest. Well, that was epic. That was real nerve-wracking stuff.
Riveting.
But no more Phil Taylor. That's it for him.
So sad.
Very sad. But all good things must come to the end. We'll still have all those classic moments. And there'll be quite a few more darts archives of Phil Taylor, so we can reminisce on the career of perhaps I would go far as to say the winningest sports person
Yes.
of all time. He's almost like a Dom Bradman like figure. He's so far in front of
Absolutely.
everyone else, right?
Last bit on the segment. Name. Okay, we'll go you and I. What was your favourite or one of your favourite darts moments of Phil Taylor? We'll just share a very quick story. Very quick story.
There's a few that string to. In terms of, I think the peak of his career, when we talk about this is the greatest player of all time, when was he at his absolute best? It'll be what I'll do for the Darts Archive match in the next episode. So I
Okay.
actually don't want to
Okay.
leave that. But the match I'll have for the Darts Archive next week, I think, is when he was at his absolute best. And given it's coming to the end of the Premier League, that might give a hint into what it was. I
stay
remember 2018 World Championship. So the first time I really heard of darts was when he retired in 2018. That last walk-on is very memorable, and John McDonald did a great job there. His last World Match Play is probably his most impressive title, considering he's coming to the end of his career. He hadn't won many titles in that last sort of 5 years of his career, and he beat Gerwyn Price, the future world champion, Rainbow van der Velde, 5-time world champion, Michael van Gerwen, who's won 3, Adrian Lewis has won 2, and then Peter Wright, who went on to win 2 as well. So a very difficult run to the final at something like 57 years of age, and he basically won all of those matches fairly handily as well. Across all those 5 great players, so I'd go that world match, that last world match play, and that last world championship, and the thing I'll talk about next week as sort of his as the sort of as the greatest moments of his career.
Absolutely. Well, for me, besides the walk-on, as you said, it actually makes me tear up sometimes just watching it. Just the crowd build-up. John McDonald absolutely nailed the crap out of it. 16
Yeah.
100 televised titles and all that stuff.
Yep.
The finals, rather. But the one for me has to be his 2 9-darters. 2 9-darters in a night against, of course, who was it going to be, right?
Yeah.
James Wade.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the pinnacle moments of his career, and I think that'll be looked back for many, many decades.
It will. Those 9, and that first one he did in 2002. So this is well before my time, but only 3 people had done it on the TV previously. No one had done it live on UK TV. So that was a big moment to have that happen. And now we see 9 artists go every other week. But that was a special moment that he went on to win that tournament in Blackpool. So Phil Taylor calls time on his darts career. It was effectively over, but he's made it official now.
Official.
Thank you very much, Phil, for your service.
Absolutely.
And we probably wouldn't be here without your contribution to the sport. Undoubtedly on that Mount Rushmore, pretty much on everyone's Mount Rushmore of darts, is the greatest darts player, maybe the greatest sports person who ever lived. Beau Greaves is... Well, she's probably going to be a PDC tour card holder next year. She spoke really well, I thought, to Phil Buzz and Online Darts. And I think she's basically said, yes, I'll take a tour card.
Yep.
And the way, if you sort of read between the lines of what she said on Lakeside versus Ally Pally, I think she's going to go to Ally Pally this year, should she qualify for it through Women's Series, Women's World Match Play, Development Tour, Challenge Tour, whatever way she gets in.
So many different avenues to
She's got
qualify.
so many avenues. So, however it's going to be, I will predict she will have a tour card next year, and she will be at Alexandra Palace this year, which would be amazing.
That'd be fantastic instead of going to Lakeside. Yeah, well, we both discussed that off air, that it would be great for her in terms of, you got your prize money, but you've also got playing against the best of the best for a tour card instead of the sort of Lakeside stuff. But that'd be great for her.
She's done her time in Lakeside, 3 times Women's World Champion. It's just how many more do you want if you want any more at all?
That's right.
So, as it is, we expect Beau Greaves to go to and be involved in the PDC this time next year. She'll be at the Women's World Match Play, of course, in Blackpool later in the year, and probably going to be a tour card holder and probably going to Alexandra Palace should she have to make that choice between that and Lakeside. Previously always choosing Lakeside, but this time looking like she'll go to... She's had one appearance at Ally Pally before, and after that great run at the... Minehead, the UK Open, where she made the 4th round and would have beaten basically anyone else if she hadn't drawn one of the Lukes. She drew Humphries.
Of course.
It's looking like that Beau Greaves potential that we all saw might finally be there. Confirmation beyond all. It's been confirmation about World Cup of Darts for the last 5 shows.
Right.
Maybe not 5, maybe 3 or 4. But I think we only had the Hungary and the Italian teams still left. So basically, unless anyone else pulls out, we have our 80 players, 40 nations going to the World Cup of Darts. It's a great event. New look Singapore team, new look England team.
Yes.
The Australian team is still the same, albeit with only one tour card holder, so we'll start on the group stage as a non-seed. England, the defending champions, as we know. Luke Humphries won last year with Michael Smith. He'll pair up with Luke Littler this year. Is there one nation there that you could... Who's the best shot outside of England who will definitely win it? I think that when we do our predictions for the World Cup of Darts properly, I think we'll just go outside of England.
An outsider, you'd say?
Just who's most likely to lose to England in the final, because that's what this tournament is really about.
Lose to England, yeah, that's true. Give me a moment whilst you grab yours.
I'm a toss-up between Wales and Belgium personally, because Belgium have looked really strong at the last few World Cups, but this time they're going one up. Instead of Kim Huybrechts, Mike De Decker will be there. Dimitri Van Berg's also taken quite a bit of time away for some tournaments, but he will be there at the World Cup of Darts. And I reckon perhaps that new pairing could really spur on Dimmy this time. I'm looking forward to see that German pair, Schindler and Pietrezcu. It's been Clemens in previous years. And I think if Desi and Johnny can get together, and they haven't in the last few years, I think they could be quite the threat as well. Josh Rock was really good at last year's World Cup of Darts as well. So
interesting to see how we'll go with Daryl Gurney this time round. Not sure how that will go. We'll see what the chemistry's like.
Dolan?
For me, yes.
Just give me one nation.
One nation.
One or two.
We'll go with De Decker and Vandenberg.
Yeah, Belgium.
I feel like for Belgium, that it could be a little sneaky one, but then if I had another one,
Belgium have been really unlucky in World Cups. If you look at their record, they're like one of the most consistent nations up there, and they haven't won it. They may maybe one or two finals. Yeah, but they made lots of semi-finals. It's like 4 or 5 years in a row or something ridiculous.
Out of the group stage and making those semis, or if not them, I reckon Wright and Anderson for Scotland.
Yeah, I'm just not sure on Peter Wright's form, but maybe Gary can lift them over the line there. All right, so World Cup of pairs, World Cup of Darts pairs have been locked in properly. That graphic has the Taiwanese flag. They're going to have to use Chinese Taipei, I'm afraid. Anyway, this is all on you, Josh, because I haven't really read anything other than the headline. Aspinall and Lilla, are they opening a darts shop, are they?
In Sheffield.
In Sheffield, oh wow.
So, obviously, this week's Premier League is in Sheffield. So, for 3 days starting tomorrow, Darts icons Littler and Aspinall opening shop in famous Sheffield shopping centre. It'll be open for 3 days.
I've just opened my water bottle as well, so it's real time for a celebration.
Called the Fan Cave Store in Meadowhall, which will be transformed to Littler and Aspinall shop for 3 days. It'll be selling merchandise and personal memorabilia with from both players. Visitors can explore a range of products, including limited edition apparel, darts equipment, and signed collectibles. And a meet and greet with Luke and Nathan will be happening on the 21st, which will be tomorrow for them. So I know, just a little cool initiative they're doing, spark some engagement for the Premier League, which is happening in Sheffield this week, as I mentioned, and just to meet the fans and give back pretty much. So that'll be good. Very
good there for Aspinall and Littler to do that. On the Asian tour, that's been developing as well. With 16 events in now, and Motoyomo Sakai won events 13 and 14, Josh?
Yes, remember the name. He
if you can.
Earned himself $2,000 US dollars there, so that works out to be, 3.5-ish Aussie dollars, which isn't too bad if you ask me. So yes, he played event 13 and 14. Event 13 was on the 17th in Mongolia. And he...
in Ulutabata, which will be of note in a moment.
Yes, it will be, for another name, which we'll get to. He beat Bold Bata Bayarmagi, I'm so sorry if I didn't say that right, 4-2. He then beat Alex Toyo 5-2, and then beat Manlok Luing 5-3 in event 14. He beat 4-0, he won 4-0 against Ryuta Arihara. Semi-final... 5-3 victory over Lok Yin Lee, and a whitewash victory in the final 5-0 against Alien Abi. So good for him. Two good victories and some nice prize money for him. So
absolutely
good to watch these players on the Asian tour.
Yes, Asian tour does quite well at the moment. It's one of the stronger affiliate tours now in Ulutabata. For the third year in a row, the Ulutabata Open WF Men's Singles Champion is none other than the Singapore Slinger himself. Paul Lim at 71 years of age just keeps doing it. He won that event. It was on like an 88 average in the final.
Respectable.
Very, very respectable stuff. In a bit of form. He's almost in career best form at 71. Would you believe it? Yeah, the man who hit the first and only 9-dove finish on the Lakeside stage. He's in good form, and I'm looking forward to seeing him at the World Cup because he's going to have a new partner. It's going to be off the back of that World Championship final run at Lakeside at the back end of last year. He's looking strong on the Asian tour at the moment. So, yeah, very exciting stuff to see Paul Lim just playing well. We love that, don't we?
Absolutely. No, we talked about him on the program 2 weeks ago, or was it last week, about his victory and success.
Yeah, we've talked about him quite a few times over the last few weeks.
And for good reason.
He's just one of the greats, right?
He is a champion. He's a champion. What a victory for him. So, look forward to seeing him hopefully at another tournament very, very soon. So, excellent news for him and a fantastic victory in Mongolia.
I'm just going to run through these names. Ross Montgomery, John Henderson, Robert Thornton, Richie Howson, Simon Whitlock, Steve Beaton, Daryl Fitton, Tony O'Shea, Neil Duff, Trina Gulliver, Vincent Vandervoort, Martin Adams, Ronnie Highbreaks, Kevin Painter, Mervyn King, John Part, Leonard Gates, Andy Hamilton, and Scott Waits will all appear at the 2026 World Seniors Darts Championship. Scott Waits, the last of those, was confirmed this morning. So those 19 will be joined by presumably a few qualifying tournaments and methods for other players to get to Purfleet next year. And their Champion of Champion event has been moved to the Modus Live Lounge at Portsmouth.
Yes.
So that place just keeps getting so much events
traction
there, and it's going to get the World Seniors now as well.
Well, the ADC Global Championships take part there in November, so this has been added to the list. So good to see it be moved to a nice venue. It would have a crowd on the Saturday night, I'd imagine, or across that weekend, or whatever it is.
I'm going to be interested to see if they format it like a Modus week or they do something slightly different with it. They may very well go down the Modus path. They might do something different. It'll be interesting to see.
Might be across a weekend. They go maybe Saturday, Sunday, or they go Friday, Saturday. They go Friday afternoon and evening session. I got no idea, but we'll stay tuned for that one and we'll keep you updated for sure.
We already have an announcement. We already just did international pairs. I already just brought my decorations down. I've got to put them back up. At the end of August, Jeff Smith and Dawson and Michelle will represent Canada at the second International Pairs Week. But going to...
Speaking of Jeff Smith,
he was the winner of the Silencer in Series 1, Week 1 of the Modus.
Yes, he was the Week 1 winner, and he beat Danny Ayres, who was on debut. I'll speak about him in a moment, from the ADC Northwest representative. And yeah, he had a great week. He spoke on the Tungsten Talks after the game, and he spoke about his development, where his career is at, where his darts is at, and he's loving his darts at the moment, which is good. We want to see these guys who are sort of playing in the later stages of their career still having fun on the stage. Obviously, they're not making PDC grounds or anything, but just seeing him have fun against quality opponents was good to see. So a great result for him. And then there's Hinksy in the back doing the honours.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
there's Danny Ayres on his debut, making it all the way to the final. A very strong week from him. Group 2, we've got a new graphics here, which I'm not a massive fan of.
Neither
but
am I, to be honest.
Jamie Hughes, Colin Osborne, probably the big names that stand up there in Group A. Scott Taylor's in Group B. Wes Newton's in Group C. So they're the names as of right now.
Still no Adrian Lewis.
There we go. But yes, hang on, we'll get to that in a second. Jamie Hughes is 9-1 after a couple of nights, going into the last night of Group A as we speak. So he's on top, Steve Johnson second, and Colin Osborne third, who's 5-5. But so probably between, you'd expect Hughes and Johnston, maybe Osborne, if he get that would he's probably too far back.
Probably just between them. Good to see young Bradley Rose there as well. He's been there a few times. He's been through the JDC systems now on the ADC stage, so good to see him there.
Yep.
And yeah, probably a battle between Hughes and Johnson for that Group A spot.
Yes. Now we should mention that Adrian Lewis promised us sometime in May. They were his exact words. We might even, if we had more time, I might even splice them into the edit, but I'm not going to do that.
Good idea.
Yeah, I'm going to appear at Modus sometime in May. Well, that only leaves, basically, we can say this, Adrian Lewis will be at Modus next week if he is telling the truth there. if everything's good to go, he will be there next week because there's nothing else left in May.
We are waiting for a formal announcement. Modus, come on now.
We can already
Where is it?
see you're working together for for that. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen. It's Adrian Lewis at Modus this week. So it's going to be next week. This time next week, we're going to be talking about Adrian Lewis at Modus.
Yes.
Surely.
And as we said, the amount of views will go skyrocketing.
Yeah,
after that.
it might be one of the most watched
10,000,
Modus Super
20,000,
Series
who knows?
streams
Who
of all
knows?
time. Something that won't be very well watched
Now
is
for real
you
darts.
just beating me again. I had a real shocker in this match. You know what happens, right? I've realized what my big problem is. I get to about somewhere between like 230 and 200, right? And all I need to do is keep straight to leave myself a finish, and my action just completely goes. I averaged 42, but it didn't feel very good. I only got 2 darts at double right in that third leg, missed them both at double 15 for a 90 checkout. Only top score of 100. You banked at another 140, and it was a very
So
convincing
close to
display.
180.
3 from 7 on doubles, though.
Yes,
so
not bad.
You're getting much better on doubles.
Not bad.
I do think your counting needs a bit more work. You're always stopping and starting.
Can
I go,
be.
I know exactly where he should be going here.
Yeah. No, well,
And he hasn't gone that way.
I'll
That's
just take a
wrong.
fraction of a second just to see what I want, because obviously double 16 is my favourite, hence why I hit 2 there and I hit
One of tops.
tops, I
The
think.
tops was the
Yeah.
one to win the match. It was the
Yeah.
60 checkout, even
Yes.
though you missed the big 20 with the first
Somehow,
dart.
so at 119
Indeed,
and tops.
tops.
Usually just 20. I try and make some room to get it on the left side of the
I
net.
just try and hit the big number and then work it out from there, Josh. I just wanted in the big. I just want 2 darts at a double.
Yeah, I think I had a pretty decent game.
You played well. To be fair, you had a 23 dart lag, even though it was probably
Not
on
bad.
track for something a bit better.
18
So
maybe.
that
19.
was a
Lot
very
better.
strong leg, but that
Lot
was my
better.
worst. I hit a couple back-to-back scores of 9,
Yeah.
so I was very grumpy
my
myself.
first nine
But that was a
average
very
is
good shot.
pleasing. The
Yes.
first on average, pleasing for
Well,
me.
you're just a better dart
Been
player
around
than
50,
me.
55.
But hopefully next week I can
Well,
change the.
You've beaten me on a
I've
few
been you
occasions.
twice.
Twice, is it?
Yeah, twice in about. We played like 10 or 12 matches, and I've
Ah,
beaten you twice.
Okay. Well, maybe
So-
next week's the week. There's the stats. It's nothing.
I'll keep throwing
nothing
first.
too pretty.
I'll keep winning the ball and throwing first until I beat you. All right.
Deal.
So
So that was good fun. As
this was
always.
last week's spreadsheet because I haven't got to it. I think there might be an error in the golden price row, so I'll come back to that next week. Right.
Here we
Night
are.
16 Premier League is in Sheffield. 2 nights to go. They really should do this 2-7-3-6-1-8-4-5 to build up the hype of that last quarter final, but they don't do that because they're a bit. Anyway, Luke Littler plays Stephen Bunting in the first match. Stephen Bunting is playing in his last Premier League match of this season. It's been up and down. He's been good when he's lost, but will the shirt come back next week for one final time in this Premier League, or will Luke Littler win on that quarter final, knowing that he's already
Oh,
locked up
boy.
first place and he probably doesn't even want to be there? Other than
probably
maybe
doesn't.
maybe the dart shop. To be fair, maybe that'll give him something.
Yeah, with
Who
the lead up
wins?
to it. Yeah, look, I know Littler. Who would have thought? Yeah, well, just after his impeccable form on the weekend, it's hard not to go past him again. Littler will go. I'll give Bunting a few legs on this one. I think he's been decent as of late. We'll go 6-3. 6-3.
I was thinking of the exact same score. Right.
Yep.
Michael Van Gerwen beats Nathan Aspinall 6-4 here. Actually, no, sorry, 6-3 here, because if he's going to win this match, he's going to need to get out of the blocks very quickly. If Aspinall wins at least 4 legs, he's going to win 6, because Michael isn't going to beat him in a close match. He's going to be one-sided. So Michael Van Gerwen 6-3 just to keep us going. Yes, I'm trying to manifest chaos. I don't say that with much confidence. Are you with me, Josh, or are you going to be a party pooper and spoil the father?
Well-
Spoil the party here with who you really think would win rather than trying to get something going.
We like some conflict, don't we? But it's a tough one. It actually is a really tough matchup to sort of pick a winner on. Again, if MVG can just find a victory, even if he can just scrape to the line, you just never know what could happen.
I'm just not confident he can scrape. That's the problem. I think he
That's
needs to
right.
win big.
True. But I do think Aspinall. I know, party pooper.
Boo.
But we'll find out. But I do think Aspinall. It'll be close. I think MEG will be fuel of fire, ready to come out. We'll go 6-4 Aspinall.
I think what you've just seen there, listening audience, is Josh go with his head and me go with my heart. I think
There you
that's
go.
literally what's just happened there. Humphries cross, and if Josh is right, I won't even be watching these matches. They'll be completely useless. But Humphries cross, it will be played. Humphries 6-2.
6-2 for you. I am writing these down for the Instagram, by the way.
Oh, yes, we're going to put that up. Well,
Cross-
he'll put that up.
Cross 6-2.
Yep.
Yep.
No,
okay.
Humphries 6-2.
Sorry,
Humphries 6-2.
Humphries 6-2. Okay, for me,
I forgot you were doing that.
yeah,
So.
it's not hard to look past Humphries again after his form. I'll go Humphries. We'll go 6-4 this time. I think Cross will put up a decent fight.
Gezi Chris. Last quarterfinal.
Oh, boy.
6-4.
6-4
Going.
Price. Okay. For me, I'll also go Price. I'll go 6-3 though.
I'm going to manifest the most amount of chaos I can here with a Michael Van Gogh defeating Luke Littler. Do I think it will happen? No. Do I want it to happen? Yes, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to manifest as much chaos as possible here. He gets to that final where he falls at the final hurdle, 6-4 to Luke Humphries, who wins a 4th Premier League night, in line with what he did last year.
Okay. Boy, oh boy.
He finishes on 36 points, which is still 6 points behind where Littler would be if he was to lose in the first round. All right, Humphrey, what did I say? 6-4? I can't even remember now. Humphries beats Van Gogh in the final. That'll do. You can watch it back and work it out.
All right, we will go Littler in the final again. I know, who would have thought. And then we will go...
the only way this night is interesting if Aspinall loses in the first round, if we just get to see Littler Humphries again.
Exactly. We'll go Littler versus Price. Littler versus Price. And
You're not helping us here, Josh.
And we'll go Price for the nightly win.
All right. Give me a score.
We'll go 6-3. 6-3.
Alrighty, let's hope that doesn't happen. Last week, let's hope something like this happens because this was fantastic.
Oh boy, it was.
John Henderson, he got a draw 6-6 against Michael Van Gerwen, who played ridiculously well, but he was able to hold on there. Michael Van Gerwen missed, I think it was 3 darts, double 5 to go something like 5-2 up, which really changed the complexion of the match. He got himself a guaranteed point, but John Henderson just did enough. He played really well. Michael Van Gerwen played really well. It was just enough to get a 6-6 draw there in front of an absolutely fantastic crowd in Aberdeen. That was at a different venue from where they are now, actually, funnily enough. This week, Josh, you've had this sitting here for about 7 days. 2021 Premier League final. What I love with this one is that you've gone for 2 completely different players than what I usually go with. Johnny Clayton and the special one, Jose de Souza.
Clayton played de Souza in his Premier League debut, season. Clayton finished 4th on the table and Jose finished 2nd across the 16 nights. Johnny's been playing brilliantly up to this time. He's had a great campaign, and Jose looks to beat him what would be an upset victory if he does. Both players average over 100. Will Jose pull it off, or will Clayton take out the title in his debut season? Find out next week.
Alrighty, that's all we have for, unfortunately, Footy Chat is hopefully coming up right after this. Thank you very much, Josh.
Pleasure as always.
It's going to be a great finale to this year's Premier League, and hopefully we will have we'll be back for you to predict and analyze finals night. We are so close to the end of this year's Premier League. The 2 Lukes will be there. Gurn will be there. Will it be Nathan or Michael to join them? We'll find out next week. This has been the 9 Dart Podcast.